welcome back to Shelby on Safari. I hope you're well. I am so excited for the month of October because I love Halloween. And while it's gonna be a bit different this year, I thought we might as well still celebrate, but do it Shelby on Safari style by looking at animals. In particular, some of the spooky variety. So today we will be looking at wolves, and I'll throw in a few little werewolf things in there as well, because why not? We'll be answering some common questions about wolves, like why do they howl at the moon? But first, before we do, if you're new here and you want to learn all about animals in the wild or in pop culture, or see more videos involving my cats like Tamatoa, who's in my lap, be sure to hit that subscribe button and make that bell go ding so you can be the first to see all the new content. Now, let's dive right in. Before we look at wolves, let's first take a step back and look at the canid family. There are 35 different species of canid found throughout the world. They include foxes, coyotes, and wolves. And wolves are the largest members of the canid family. And there are two recognized species of wolves found throughout the world: the red wolf and the gray wolf. Gray wolves are found throughout the northern hemisphere. As you can imagine, there's a variety of different habitats and climates that these wolves have to live in. And therefore, there's a bit of morphological differences or physical differences, physical traits, that lead to the wolves possibly being considered as different from other gray wolves, otherwise known as subspecies. However, this is where taxonomy gets a bit tricky because it's quite subjective. Some subspecies of gray wolf that you may be familiar with include the Arctic wolf, the Great Plains wolf, and my personal favorite, the Mexican wolf. However, we will be focusing on the Eurasian subspecies of gray wolf, for they are the largest, as they have a broader, longer skull, and they also have the largest home range of any subspecies, for they can be found throughout Europe, Asia, and Russia. And it's this species in particular that's going to help us answer the question, are wolves scared of humans? So here in the UK, wolves actually used to be present. Now it's time for some history. Yay! Here we go. So let's go back a few thousand years. One of the earliest references to wolves can be found in an Anglo-Saxon document that's held at the British Museum. This document has the genealogy of dynasties and records the East Anglian founder of a dynasty called Wuffa, and his tribe were known as Woofings, or wolf people. This document was believed to be written about AD 800, with Wuffa ruling in about 575 AD. Now let's fast forward a bit to about 1,000 years ago or so, where historical records mention where wolf hunting is a way to pay tribute to kings and nobles. You could even be granted land on the condition that you rid the land of wolves, which, as you can imagine, didn't do wonders for the native wolf population. Wolves were considered a danger to both people and livestock, and with people expanding and turning land into farmland, you can see why there was some human-animal conflict to begin with. The Norman kings, which are part of my favorite era of history here in England, unfortunately even hired people as wolf hunters specifically as their job role. And it didn't help either that good old King Edward I in 1281 ordered the extermination of all wolves in England. With all of this persecution and hunting from nobility, it's no wonder that the wolf was believed to be extinct in England in the 15th century. It's believed that they survived a bit longer in Scotland, with the last wolf being killed in 1680. Sadly, the story facing the Eurasian wolf here in the UK is a familiar one that can be seen throughout the world in various other subspecies of both wolves and other animals. They're feared by humans, but are wolves themselves dangerous to humans? Well, they're large carnivores, like bears and cougars. They should be treated as such. They are potentially dangerous. But that doesn't mean that we should have an unhealthy fear of them or persecute them as being demon dogs, like how they used to be treated. Rather, have a healthy respect, as we do with any other potentially dangerous animal. Which also helps answer why wolves do not make good pets, for they are once again large carnivores that are potentially dangerous. And I know that they are the ancestor of our domesticated dog. However, domestication takes a very long time and can't be simply done overnight. So wolves, in fact, do not make good pets. Which begs the question, are wolves afraid of humans? Because we certainly sometimes seem to be afraid of them, hence all the persecution. While as humans, we stand upright on 2 feet, which is not common for wolf prey, which are usually deer and other ungulates. Or maybe it's because we have persecuted wolves and hunted them relentlessly to the brink of extinction. Maybe that's why they're so elusive. Now let's look at, why do wolves howl at the moon? It's an imagery that's seen all over, especially this time of year during the Halloween season. You see the picture of the moon and the wolf's shadow howling right up at it. It's usually a lone wolf. But do they actually do that? Do they actually howl at the moon? Let's ask Tammy. Tammy, do wolves howl at the moon? Why do they do it? No comment. So why do wolves howl at the moon? Well, I hate to be the bringer of bad news, but alas, friends, that is a myth. Wolves communicate in a variety of different ways, one of which is howling. And it's not necessarily directed at the moon. Instead, it can be used as a social kind of rally call to see who's about, or maybe a call to hunt, or even to stake one's territory out and warn possible intruders to stay out. These howls can be heard up to 6 to 7 miles away, so it's quite an effective way to communicate. Wolves don't only howl, they can bark, growl, even use scent marking to communicate. And like our furry dog friends, they also use body language to share how they're feeling and communicate that across. Ear positioning, baring their teeth, all of these physical cues can be used to communicate to other wolves. But alas, there's been no evidence so far to suggest a correlation between phases of the moon and wolf howling. However, wolves are nocturnal. They're most active at night, which is then why they probably communicate most at night, which coincidentally happens to be when the moon is out. And wolves do know the best way to get their point across. Quite literally, they use acoustics to their advantage. That's why they take that particular body shape of pointing their faces towards the moon or to the stars to project their calls upward so that they go farther. So now, let's do a little deep dive into werewolves. After all, it is Halloween. So it's unclear where the legend of werewolves originated. However, they do make their appearance in the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is the oldest known Western prose. Here we see good old Gilgamesh jilt a potential lover because she had turned her previous mate into a wolf. Talk about a bad breakup. Werewolves also made an appearance in Nordic folklore, specifically the saga of the Volsungs, in which a father and a son discovered wolf pelts that could turn them into wolves. For 10 days, they decided to don the pelts and turned into wolves for 10 days. However, they went on a killing rampage throughout the forest, and even the father attacked the son. The son received a lethal wound. However, thanks to a kind raven, the father received a magical leaf with healing powers that healed his son. Fast forward to 16th century France. Giles Garnier, also known as the Werewolf of Dole, had an interesting claim to fame. He supposedly had an ointment that had wolf morphing abilities. According to legend, he did quite the vicious acts while in his wolf form, and he was burned at the stake for these crimes. However, a lot of imagery of werewolves show them to be quite solitary in nature. But that's not the case when it comes to real-life wolves. They are social animals. Wolves live and hunt in packs of about 6 to 12 individuals, and often it's from working together which they get their preferred prey of deer, elk, or moose. By working together, they can take down these bigger prey. However, sometimes they do eat smaller prey, occasionally birds, fish, lizards, and even sometimes fruit. But most of the time, they work together to get the job done, and they can even travel up to 12 miles in a single day, where it seems werewolves stay a bit local and just torment a certain village. So what do you guys think? Are wolves truly as scary as they seem? Or is there a lot of misconceptions about these amazing social animals? I guess you can kind of see how I feel on the subject, because I've had the pleasure of working with Mexican gray wolves, Eurasian wolves, and even Arctic wolves. And while they do deserve our respect as they are potentially dangerous, there's so many more amazing things about these animals than just being in fear of them. Their cooperation when they work together, their ability to communicate. It certainly gives us humans something to think about. Well, if you learned something new, why not give this video a thumbs up? And let me know in the comments below which spooky animal you want to see featured next. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you later. Bye!